Hello everyone, this is Matthews here. I'm a senior TOK teacher. I've been teaching TOK for the last 20 years. Today, I'm going to talk about TOK orals, how to make a good TOK oral presentation. TOK simply means Theory of Knowledge, which is one of the subjects offered by the International Baccalaureate or IB. The TOK curriculum comes in two components. The TOK essay, which student must choose from 6 prescribed titles, and the student must write between 1,200 to 1,600 words. The other one is the TOK oral. Now, the TOK oral comes in two formats here: an individual presentation or a group presentation. In the individual presentation, the student can present in front of a class or in camera. The first thing that you need to do is to identify the real life situation. Once you've identified the real life situation, you extract a knowledge question from the real life situation. The real life situation can be a contemporary issue that has happened within your locality, or an international issue, an historical event, a scientific development, which you can extract a knowledge question. Let's take an example. I'm going to read for you here one knowledge question, and this knowledge question here is a second order knowledge question. Scientists are much more concerned with the causation of an event as opposed to its outcome. To what extent do you agree with this statement? What do we mean when we say second order knowledge question? TOK presentation, it's all about knowledge question, because in the course of your presentation, you will have the main knowledge question, and you will also present sub-knowledge questions which will come in the course of your presentation, which are also extracted from your sub-real life situation. Let's recap and look at what I've just said. TOK presentation must be based on a real life situation. And from the real life situation, you extract a second order knowledge question. First order knowledge question is subject specific. It's about trying to find an answer to a certain specific subject matter. If I make a claim and state that Collins ate fish yesterday, that is a first order claim because it is subject specific. It's talking about Collins eating fish. Out of that first order knowledge claim, I extract a first order knowledge question. To what extent is it true that Collins ate fish yesterday? That is simple, which means that it is specific, it is subject content based, and it's there to find a simple answer. If I go back to my earlier second order knowledge question, which was scientists are much more concerned with the causation of an event as opposed to its outcome. To what extent do you agree with this statement? This is a second order knowledge question, which in the TOK presentation has been extracted from a real life situation. This second order knowledge question has certain characteristics. 1, it is general in nature. 2, it's about how knowledge is constructed and evaluated. The knowledge question itself has several plausible answers. It's not tied down to one specific answer. There are several answers that can be elicited from it. You extract a knowledge question from a real life situation. Now, once you've done that, the next part is to link the real life situation and the knowledge question. So you must show a linkage. How do they have some form of synergy? So after establishing the link between the two, you now move on the next level, whereby you will need to do your analysis and evaluation through an argument. And this is what is known as the oral presentation. Remember, the word here is oral presentation. Some students make mistakes and they have a piece of paper where all the content is written and the student is reading verbatim. That is not an oral presentation. That is a student merely reading from a script. The assessor wants to see the student speaking orally. And the main purpose why IB specifically brought in these components of the student speaking orally, it's also to prepare them to be fluent in speaking, to have the confidence to speak in public, and give their views on how they look at certain issues that happen around the world. Ideally, what a student is supposed to do is to have some form of flip cards, cards whereby you write down the main points, and you'll find some presentations. The students have a PowerPoint. So one, for the examiner to see what is happening, and secondly, for them also to enable them to follow their line of argument. So that PowerPoint that you have should have small points which can give you as a guidance. And you'll find some students make this mistake of having a very loaded PowerPoint where they put all the content inside that really looks a bit messy. So the main purpose is that you're doing an oral presentation. So speak orally. And you're supposed to be very coherent, very articulate. Your voice projection should come out very clearly. Of course, we have certain students who might have a problem in terms of the articulation, and the examiner is not going to penalize you for that, provided you are able to make your argument in such a manner that it can be followed in a reasoned argument. After you have identified your real life situation, you have extracted the knowledge question from the real life situation. Now you move on, as I said, to the next part, which is to analyze and evaluate, which I said earlier is called your argument, in terms of how you're going to defend your stand in respect to the knowledge question. And in doing so, it's going to lead to other sub-knowledge questions coming up, other sub-real life situation coming up. Because for any claim you make, you must support it, and you only support it with a real life situation. And that real life situation and the example is the example that you're going to use. So this example that you're going to use, you'll make a claim, and that claim, you're going to counter that claim. And when you counter that claim, you can actually analyze and evaluate that claim, which is going to lead to a synthesis. So many students give their presentation in various formats, but the key points that must be taken into consideration are the following. Ensure that you sustain the main knowledge question throughout your presentation. Some students make a mistake of making a linkage between the real life situation and the knowledge question at the introduction level, and then they forget about it. Then they move on to other real life situation and knowledge questions and forget to make that link to the main knowledge question, because the main knowledge question is the focus of your presentation. And if you look at the TOK Oral marking descriptor, from descriptor 1 all the way to 10, you will find that the descriptor is asking the knowledge question has been sustained throughout the presentation. So it's very imperative that you ensure that the knowledge question is sustained in the course of your presentation. So if we go back and look at our main knowledge question, which I just gave you as an example, the scientists are much more concerned with the causation of an event as opposed to its outcome. To what extent you agree with this, then you will need to bring in other sub-knowledge question and sub-real life situation which are closely linked to your main knowledge question. So you make your argument there, make a claim, a counterclaim, and then you analyze and evaluate them, which is going to lead to a synthesis. After that, I come to the conclusion part of the oral presentation. What are the requirements that are needed to make a good oral presentation conclusion? You need 3 requirements. 1, you must link the main knowledge question to your real life situation. 2, you must make your stand whether you support the claim in the knowledge question or not. 3, you must bring out other 2 real life situations that are related to the main real life situation. So the other 2 real life situations are brought at the end of the conclusion in order to show the way forward. In your conclusion, you can now give the way forward. After you've stated the conclusion, you give a situation to state that maybe, as you have agreed or disagreed with it, there are certain circumstances whereby, the scientists are also interested in the outcome as opposed to the causation. The TOK guide clearly says that the student can present the TOK oral after the first term of IB1, and the presentation can take place in class on a continuous basis, or the teacher can organize a particular day on which the TOK presentation can take place. So if you do the oral as an individual, you'll do it for 10 minutes. In a group, it's either 20 or 30 minutes. The IB has a matrix whereby 60, 7% of the total marks will come from the TOK essay and 33% will come from the TOK oral. So for you to be on the safe side, you must make sure that you make a very strong TOK presentation and write a very good TOK essay in order for you to get the maximum points of an A and getting the requisite 2 points, which together with your extended essay brings in a total of 3 points. Thank you very much. See you next time.